What's up, bass campers? Today I want to go over the Spitfire Audio BBC Orchestra plugin, the free offering that they have currently. If you were willing to wait 2 weeks for it to arrive, I couldn't wait. I was too impatient, so I paid the $50 that they're asking for it and got it for you guys this week to go over and review. So let's dive right into it. So when you open it up, this is what you see. You see the orchestra chamber and a bunch of shapes that you can click on and select to change your instrument. So you can click on violins, for instance, or they have another violin section. Celli, which I didn't know that was the plural of cello, but I guess it is. So you got that. We got basses. So really cool right out the box. It's got everything sort of situated in the stereo field, like if you were sitting like in an orchestra hall with the players facing you, which I think is really cool. Lets you dive right into it. And I actually made a template with all of these different instruments selected, so you can just kind of go in and just add the little parts and play it, and everything will just be right where you need it to be, as if you were conducting an orchestra. So that'll be for free download in the description below or in the show notes at basecamppodcast.com. So check that out if you want to download my template. You must have this plugin for it to work, so make sure you go download it for free or pay for it on the Spitfire Audio website. So anyway, diving back into the plugin, really cool features here in every section. So well, let me start. We just went over to this top part. So what's down here? So we got a couple sliders and things. So depending on which instrument you have selected, so let's just select violins, for instance, you'll have the reverb amount, which, let me get back up to the right octave. You can hear it's very subtle there, but it's more prominent in, let's say, the horns maybe. So pretty subtle effect, but it just kind of adds room reverb to the sound or section you are focused in. So that's that big slider knob thing. There's two other sliders over here. This one is for dynamics, so it's just like the expression of the sound, different tonality depending on where you have this lever set. So for the horn section here, if we set it all the way low and hold it out, it's pretty long static sound versus if we brought it all the way up. You hear more of like the initial horn blow, and it kind of has a little bit more expression. So just a little bit more color to play with that the Spitfire guys added to this, so I thought that was cool. And then this knob to the left of that is simply just a leveling knob. So if you bring it up and down, just going to change the level, and that's it. So if you were playing like a chord, like say, and you wanted to kind of bring it in easily or more expressively, so it allows you some more, allows you to give a human touch to things a little bit more easily. So I thought that was cool that they added that. They didn't have to do that. They could have just put all these cool sounds up and that's it. But they gave some expressive qualities there. So let's dive around and let's dive back to the strings real quick and look at this section over here. So these are the different techniques. So if you think about like a violin player playing their instrument, they could either bow the string all the way for a long note. They could kind of hit the strings quickly for like a little staccato note or spiccato. They could pluck the strings, right, for like a little pluck note, or they could go real crazy with the tremolo. So that's a really cool feature of this plugin, because a lot of times the plugins that I've downloaded in the past that have orchestral sounds kind of make this a little bit more difficult, or it's a little bit more glitchy in my experience. So this is really simple. You just click a box and you play. So I thought that was really cool. And every section has different techniques. So for example, if we go to the piccolo, get the long, So it doesn't have the 4 options that the strings have, but it definitely has 2 options, which are a little bit less intensive a change than the other ones. But let's click around here and find some more. So ones I really liked were, let's go to tuba. And when you're clicking around here, you might notice that I'm like hitting some keys and it's not playing. So every one of these sections has their own octave kind of cut out for you to be able to play. So like if you're playing a tuba, you wouldn't be able to play like the high octaves, right? Because that's not what a tuba plays. So just because of that, you can only play the lower half. You can see down here as you click around, the range of keys that are available to play is shifting. So make sure that if you're diving around here, it's not broken if you're playing the top keys. You're just out of the range. So tuba's pretty cool. Some bass. I really like the bass type of string sound for orchestral bass type of music, which I like to make a lot. So I'd stick around here, the celli, and here in the horns, and get some cool blasts going. And yeah, but you can see as I click around, like the horns only have 2 over here, different techniques. This string only has 3. So some have more than others, but they're all kind of giving you flexibility to mess around and see what tone you want. And up here, if you go to the percussive section, the yellow elements, the techniques here will actually change the instrument. So we'll go from like heart plucks to maybe celesti. I don't know how to say that. I think that's how you say it. So that's actually really cool because it's giving you an extra instrument. It's kind of hidden up here if you weren't clicking around. But I really love those sounds. So it could be really cool for all types of music. Click over to percussion. We got the timpani. Those are really cool to use. I haven't really found a place to use it in my music personally, but definitely going to have an easier time hopping into that sound here with the timpanis. And untuned percussion, got all your cool percussion hits. And over here, we actually have 4 different instruments in this one little tuned percussion section. So let's click through here and play some stuff. Let's go. So love a marimba, xylophone, glockenspiel. So some really cool stuff in here. Really love what the guys at Spitfire Audio are doing. Really glad that I stumbled upon this free download. Again, the plugin will be free, but only if you sign up for their list and go through their survey, basically asking you some questions about your music career and journey and what kind of products you're looking for people to make for you. And after you fill out that survey, you're going to click submit, and this will be sent to you in 2 weeks from the submission of that survey. So I'm in no way, shape, or form sponsored by Spitfire Audio. I just really love what they're making, and I wanted to cover this plugin for you guys this week because I thought it's really powerful. You can really quickly come up with really full orchestral arrangements with this that you would. I mean, BBC Orchestra they're huge and hugely talented in the composition and soundtrack space. If you've ever watched Planet Earth or any of the BBC shows with an orchestral arrangement, most likely it's the BBC Symphony Orchestra playing that. So this is a plugin they made by recording that orchestra, and it's really, really cool. So I'll show you a really quick arrangement that I made with this just to see what kind of stuff you can get out of this. So here's a little idea that I had been messing around with right after I downloaded the plugin from Spitfire, the BBC Orchestra plugin. And I had played this in a contact instrument, so this is the original. So I wanted to take that and see what I could layer on top of it using the BBC Orchestra to give it just like some more body and interesting parts. So here's what I came up with using only the BBC Symphony Orchestra to add on top of that. So adds a lot of color, a lot of depth. And one thing I'd like to note is when you're playing all this stuff together, we got probably 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different instances, actually 9 different instances of that BBC plugin playing. And when I play this, you'll see that there's only a 10% spike in CPU usage. So it's really CPU efficient. And that's really important for something like this where you would need a lot of layers to make something that sound like an actual orchestra. And they've designed the plugin in a way that would force you to be using multiple different instances of the plugin for you to achieve that result. So overall, I fucking love this plugin. I think it's really powerful. I would love using it standing alone as its own thing, but more importantly, to layer over other orchestral sounds that I use, such as the contact libraries that I've accumulated over the years, and all together it just starts to become something really interesting and dynamic. So definitely something you should go grab, especially because it's free and really powerful, and will add not only color and depth to your orchestral library, but just a plethora of sound options if you don't have anything orchestral already. So that's it for this week's episode, guys. Thanks for tuning in. Hope you enjoyed it. All the download links for the orchestral template I talked about at the beginning of the episode, and the link to actually fill out the survey and get this plugin for free are all in the description below or in the show notes if you're listening at home and aren't watching the video at basecamppodcast.com. So thanks for tuning in again, guys. See you next week. Peace.